My name is Kayred, and this is a practice video on what it will look like when I start to do some doodling online. Get my hair there. And we talk about stress and how we alleviate it, how we deal with it, and some good and helpful ways that I have found to process my thoughts. I spent the last 25 years, almost 25, 24 and a half years in law enforcement, working some of the most strenuous and exciting and heartbreaking events that there are. I have been a negotiator with the police department for over 12 years. I have been called on over 500 events, and I learned very early on that I needed some ways to occupy my hands and to occupy my mind and allow myself time to process and breathe and, to be honest, mostly not think. So I've done it a number of ways. I sometimes play little video games on my tablet. I've crocheted and done other crafts. But my favorite way is to put pen to paper. Now, as you'll see as I go, I am not an artist. I was not blessed with great artistic ability, but I did learn that using that part of my brain on exercising, I like to move my paper, on exercising that portion of my brain has done great things to help me alleviate my stress and my thoughts. I don't create masterpieces. I tend to only put one line on top of another, but I find there's something wonderful and almost magical about putting a pen to a paper and making a simple line after simple line with no idea of what I'm going to do next or where it's going to end, when often I see the most benefits of this relaxation of this project create the ugliest and worst and most aired pictures. But what I have learned looking back over about 12 years of playing with pen and paper, I have learned that it's kind of my way of putting down on paper some of those feelings. Now, sometimes it turns out and it doesn't look so bad. Sometimes it looks horrific. But what I started doing about 10 years ago is, rather than using a piece of paper, using a book so that I can go back and look at them and say, oh yeah, that one's rough. That one's not finished. That one's a mistake. That one is hurried or rushed or not good. But others I can look back and go, hey, that don't look horrific. I enjoy, for the most part, of only using black pens. Gives me one less decision to make. I never start off with an idea of what it will look like. I leave that for the end so that it just ends where it is. Sometimes I think I'm done and I come back. Other times I wish I stopped a little bit earlier. Sometimes I'll do big projects that take weeks. Sometimes I'll do just little things like today where I use just my favorite lines, my easiest patterns. Where it feels like a comfortable thing. If you're looking for a page and you have an artist who can show you great works, share it below, but this is not that page. I will talk about pages that I enjoy. I watch YouTube and I follow some Patreons of some people who are true artists and do wonderful drawings or mandalas or Zentangles, all those. Speaking of Zentangle, I am not not been through their school. I am not conditioned. I won't use Zentangle terms, or I might use some of the products because I purchase them, but Zentangle is how I started, and I will forever be grateful that it showed me a person who has horrible writing and horrible artistic skills, and probably very similar to the school experiences where you know your project just isn't what the rest of the world's projects are. But I wanted to start putting these down because I have enjoyed so much going back and looking at some of my old stuff that I thought it'd be interesting to have a little log. Or maybe I talk through some of them. Maybe some of them have no talking at all. Maybe I stop after just a couple and these are never seen. Maybe I make them for the rest of my life. I'm going to start this project the same way I start any of my drawings, with no end in sight, with no idea what it will look like, no idea what will become of it or where I will be, giving myself the freedom I give on every drawing, or every time I put pen to paper, or every time I start a craft project. The option of when it's horrible to get rid of it. The truth that all I am wasting is a little bit of ink and a little bit of paper. And the belief that it is not a waste, even if it's one I choose to throw in the trash, and some I have. Some have been just so icky and painful to look at. I don't want to see them. I throw them in the trash. But even with that, the value I have is not in my end project, but in my joy of doing it, my love of the feel of pen and paper. Being a non-artist, the first time I felt like I could walk into an art store and have some idea of what pen I wanted or what thing I wanted. It was such a joy. I still feel that every time. But I was like that in school too. There's nothing better than back to school supplies where you could have a fresh pen and a fresh paper. The beginning of possibilities. I find if I do something that I really, really hate, I will just blacken it out, make it go away. When I go through these more, I'll talk a little bit more about how I like to breathe through these. Now I like to work on controlling my breathing. I think that does a lot to calm your minds. Sometimes, as I do these, I'm able to process my day a little bit. Whether the day involved a horrific crime or involved a great joy of somebody choosing to live, keep going in this life. Whether I had the great privilege and joy of telling a family member that their loved one is fine, was going to get the help they needed at the hospital, that everything was okay. Whether I had to stand there with a family member who realized they'd never talk to their loved one again. This is why I draw. This is what I get out of it. And like I said, not the picture, not the end result. We'll talk, hopefully, if I do more of these, if I enjoy this, more about why I chose the pens I choose, who I watch online and who I have learned from, what I believe this does in my brain, and why I believe so strongly that this has helped me. But yeah, that's what this page will be about. Be about creating some calm in my mind out of the chaos of my thoughts, and about using, for the most part, for the majority, pen and paper to help bring that calm to my chaos, to help create either a chaotic piece or a calm piece or a wonderful piece or a horrible piece out of my thoughts. I often make mistakes. I think thickening these lines was definitely a mistake. I often make mistakes. I often wish I didn't do something that I did. Who can't say that about all areas of their life? It's just nice that this area, it's about a worthless piece of paper. This is January of 2024. I'm in a brand new book and hoping to do at least one video a week. I will do different pages throughout the week. Sometimes I do a lot, sometimes I do very little. Depends on how tired I am or how much I feel. I have gone through times over these last 12 years where I do a lot. And I've gone through times over the last 12 years where I don't do much. So I'm hoping this will help me be a little more consistent, maybe. Maybe if we go through this together, we can be more consistent. I do like to do things besides just these little drawings, mandalas. I don't know if I even say the words right. I don't often say words right. Kind of funny for a negotiator. But no matter what you say, when you say it with the right emotion, almost always are you understood. I enjoy doing dots. Diamond art, I think is that it's actually called. I always call it dots. I think the best part of dots is when you get to organize it at the beginning. That's great fun. So maybe we'll do those for a while if I get tired of this. I am attempting to learn to do some, I'm getting off the paper, aren't I? Maybe I'll put little lines on the board here of what's in the frame so I'll know when I'm in the frame. I plan on doing lots of learning. I plan on doing lots of understanding. I plan on showing you some of the little exercise sheets I do. Learning to use a pen is a skill. Now, whereas I am not artistic, and whereas I probably don't put enough time in for my lines to be perfect, as you do anything, you get better. So as I do anything, I get a little better in my pen control. Found myself wanting to start this project about a year ago, and I got completely overwhelmed, and all of a sudden, this wonderful thing that I had found to stop my anxiety is not the right word necessarily, to stop the chaos of my mind and to bring me control, was creating it. The joy of this is that it has nothing it's supposed to be. So when I decided I would start trying to see if I could create something like this in YouTube or create something like this online, or maybe there's a community out there of people who enjoy doing different crafts to get together and to enjoy each other. Online knitting circle, for lack of a better thing, and the fact that I had no success in knitting. Tried a couple of times. My problem with knitting is the counting. For me, the point and the joy of this is, for the most part, that my mind goes wherever my mind wants it to go. It can focus on the strokes I'm making with the pen, or it can travel to a vacation I want to go on to, or to a TV show that is on, or to my family, or to something wonderful, or it can process the chaos of my day. All of those things are what is done when I draw. And if I choose to keep my talking on these, then I think what you will find in the future is a stream of consciousness. No beginning, no end. And when I say something I don't want out there, I'll play music. So yeah, that's what this is. That's what these will be. I am just using my phone, so I'm sure the audio isn't great. But I'm not willing to invest a lot until I know that it's something that I enjoy and that I want to continue. And that maybe there is an online community of people who enjoy doing this, and we can do it together, we can share together, we can support together. Like I said, I plan on getting back in to practicing to have better pen control so that my circles look more like circles, that they're done more intentionally. But today's is strictly about being first. It's about being January. It's about being a new year. It's about trying new things and finding joy in a world that sometimes, not always, sometimes tries to take your joy. And I find it here, I find it in family, I find it in faith, I find it in many places, and we'll talk about those if I feel like it. So, as always, it's hard to know when to stop. I don't like these open spots. I don't like these open spots. Not real sure what to put in them. So I do what I normally do, which is a different spot altogether. And we'll see where we go, where we end up. I think it'll be interesting that if I do keep up with this once a week, like I hope to, that in January of 2025, I will reopen this book Maybe I will redo a similar circle. I think you'll find that these circles are my favorite to do. I think you'll find that these shapes that I am doing are my favorite shapes. Every once in a while, I'll try something new. I'll pull out a book from somebody I bought. Like I said, I enjoy the Zentangling. I enjoy a bunch of YouTube artists who are true artists and their mandalas that they do and a lot of those type of things. So at some point, I do like to try new things and try to do things a little bit more intentional. But to be honest, most of the time, that ruins it for me. And all I really want is to play with pen and paper and quiet my mind and control my breathing, which, quite honestly, while you talk, doesn't happen. So we'll definitely have some when we don't talk. And I'll share what works for me. And if anybody finds this page and they want to share what works for them, maybe we can find new things and we can do new things together without rules, without criticism. One of the advantages of being my age, I am able to see how quick I did this and how nasty it looks. Look, there, 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 there. Oh my goodness, look at there. So many of these that look so bad. I always give myself the permission and the grace that that's okay. That's why this is just a inexpensive little book with dots on it. The dots can help me, and the dots can be ignored. This is not for anything other than joy. And I refuse to let my critical mind tell me how it's not good enough. Because in this portion, this is all I have to do. Now, if I do it slow, I can do it much better. Occasionally, I buy really nice pieces of paper and I do things really slow and with great intention. And they turn out much better and they look really nice. I don't draw well, but I have found one gentleman on UK. I will share him, but I want to ask his permission to share him first. And he teaches how to draw with pencil. And he does pen and he does paint. He does a lot of things. But what I have loved and enjoyed from him is the fact that I can follow along with him online and I get something that looks like something. See, when I do this, I admittedly don't have anything that has to look like anything. That's the whole point. It's just about squiggly lines. But occasionally with him, now, just like when I started this before and I got overwhelmed, I found that with him, I took on something too strong, something a little bit harder, a bigger challenge, and I enjoyed it until it overwhelmed me. And then when it overwhelmed me, I gave myself the permission to stop. Because this isn't about work. This isn't about completing. This is about the freedom of playing, the freedom of learning. I think I may take this little page thing and fold it behind and get that condition to fold behind so it's not always in the way. Just like that way, because I always turn it. It's one of the things Entangling suggested and that I stole from them. Nothing I do is original. Nothing I do is unique. And I am okay with that. When I've taken something from someone, I will try to link them below and share it. So often, though, in our minds, we see things and we file it away. We don't always know who we've taken it from. So when I don't know, sometimes I spend some time to see it. Sometimes I see it like weeks later, And it's like, oh, look, that's what they did. I did that too. And then I'll let that know because, once again, nothing I'm doing is original. I don't have the brain to do this. I have a brain to do a lot of things, so this isn't a negative. You know, sometimes people go, "Oh, your heart is good. You shouldn't put yourself down." I'm not putting myself down. I am well aware of the many wonderful things I do, and it's okay to say there are things that you don't do so well. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with continuing to do things that you don't do well, and maybe you can do a little better later. And then when you do them better later, you can see your growth, which is kind of what I have done in all of this. At some point, if I feel like it in the future videos, I will show some of my very first ones, some of my ones that I think aren't horrible, some of my ones that I think are horrible, because I truly do believe that that is not what this is about. Sometimes I use a ruler. Sometimes I start in pencil so I can see what it looks like, and then if I hate it, I can erase it and do it in pen. Sometimes, like today, I just do shapes that I know I like, that I know I can do, and that I do often, and then I'll leave it at that. So I think that is the end of today's. You know, Bobby Ross, I used to like to watch them. His voice always helps my husband nap. It's kind of funny. He always signed his. I have no idea if this is what my signature will look like. Be kind of fun to see if in a year I continue to sign things. Put the year with it because I kind of like that idea too. But this is all about growing. This is all about changing. This is all about evolving. And I don't know, maybe I'll meet some people out there who want to do the same with me. So that's it for today. Thanks, everybody. Bye.